Good morning, everybody. Okay, so continuing with some long multiplication again today. Yesterday, you should be really happy with yourselves. There were so many positive comments coming from the year 16 about how well you'd all gotten on with the long multiplication. So well done. Lots of you trying to use the long multiplication method. Lots of you partitioning that multiplier and being really confident with that method. So today is another example of how you can start to get to grips with both methods and move slowly to using that long multiplication formal method. So today starts with a bit of a problem in the Let's Explore. So the first part of that is let's understand what that question is asking us. So we've got 325. Check that that's in view for you. Yeah, 325, and we're multiplying that by 37. 325 multiplied by 37. So first of all, we're asking ourselves, which number is the multiplier? Which number do we need to understand what it's made up of? And that's 37. Here's our 30. And here's our 7. That's what we need to multiply this 325 by. Now we could do a quick estimation in our heads and say, well, if I actually pretended that that was 300 and I looked at that as 40, I know that 3 times by 4 is 12 and I'm making it 10, 100, 1,000 times bigger. So I'm estimating that my answer should be around 12,000. Make a little note of that, because if your answer at the end isn't near 12,000, then we know we've made an error somewhere. Okay, so let's look at 325 multiplied by 37. And today I'm going to do it with both methods alongside each other for those children that are just getting to the point where they want to be able to move to this long multiplication method. So here I've got 325, and we always start in our ones multiplied by 7. 325 multiplied by 7. Over here I would have the full method as 325 multiplied by 37. Okay, either way, whichever method you are using, you're always going to start in the ones column. To move that forward a little bit so we lose the glare, that's it. So whichever method you're using, we're always going to start with the ones column. So if we're using this method, which is partitioning our multiplier, we've got 5 times by 7, which we know is 35. We then multiply the 2 by the 7, which is 14, add 3 more on, 14, 15, 16, 17. We know that's 17 tens, because it was 2 tens multiplied by 7, not 2 multiplied by 7. And then we've got 3 multiplied by 7, which is 21. Add my extra 1 on here, which is 22. And that's the same as 2,200, because it was 300 multiplied by 7, not 3. Let's look at where that answer appears over here. So exactly the same process now. We can almost forget that there is a 3 in that tens column. 5 multiplied by 7 is 35. 2 multiplied by 7 is 14. Add our 3 extra is 17. 3 multiplied by 7 is 21. Add my extra is 2,275. So we can see straight away how understanding this is going to really help us when we are confident with that method. The difference now is when you go to multiply by your 30 using this method, you do a separate calculation. So we've now got 325 multiplied by 3, because we know that we can make that answer 10 times bigger at the end. 325 multiplied by 3. 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. Then I've got 2 tens multiplied by 3. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. Add 1 more is 7. So I've now got 7 tens. 300 multiplied by 3, I know, is going to get me 900. So I've now got 975 here, but I've only multiplied it by 3. We know that that 3 should actually be 30. So I should be making my 975 10 times bigger, resulting in 9,000 9,750 as my product. Let's move over to this one and see where that 9,750 now appears. Because again, we're moving over to this method, or we're doing both alongside each other. So this time I stick with the same. Now I know that that 3 is a 30. Now one way of remembering that is by putting a 0 in that ones column. That tells me that I'm multiplying this number by 30 and not by 3. And now I can look at each of my columns. So 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. Now if I want to double check whether I've put my numbers in the right column, 1, I could go back to here and check that I had 15, which I did. Or 2, I can say to myself, 5 multiplied by 30. That's what that question's asking me. Is 5 multiplied by 30 150? And the answer there is yes, 150. And then I carry on. I'm multiplying my 2 by my 3. Adding one more is 7. Checking that. 20 multiplied by 30. Am I making sure that my answer should be 600? Add one more, which is 700, which is correct. And then I've got 300 multiplied by 3. 300 multiplied by 3, making that 10 times bigger again. So it's 300 multiplied by 30. And my answer there should be 9,000. So we can see now where we've got that 9,750, which has appeared here, the same as over here. All that's left to do on this method is to combine those two products. 7 and 5 we know is 12. 7 and 2 is 9, with 1 extra is 10. 9 and 2 is 11. Add one more is 12. Now over here we've got our two products separate. 2,275 added to 9,750. So we're going to add those two numbers up, and we should find that we get 12,025. Let's do that up here, so where we've got a little bit of space. Let's extend that board a little bit, there we go. So we've got 2,000, and like we said yesterday, it doesn't matter in which order we add these two, because we know that addition is commutative. So we've got 5 and 0 is 5. So far we've got the same number in our ones column. We've got 7 and 5, which is 12. We've got 2 and 7, which is 9. Add one more is 10. And 9 and 2 is 11. Add one more is 12. So we get the same answer, 12,025. Today would be a really good opportunity before we move on tomorrow to multiplying some decimals to have a go at these methods alongside each other. So you could have my video up, and as you're going through each of the multiplications, think, right, I'll try this method first, and then I'm going to do that one next to it, and try and mirror both of the methods, or use this one to help you spot mistakes over there, or use this one to help you spot mistakes over here. Another part of today's lesson is looking at a missing digit. Now, some of us have been emailing into using MS Teams or speaking to Mr. Phillips or other members of the Year 6 team, and I understand that some of them have been a little bit more challenging, maybe. Trying to understand, how do I know which number is missing there? So what I want us to do is just have a little look at an example together. And I'm going to choose one from your independent task. So I've chosen 368. And the equation says 368 multiplied by something 6. Okay, now before you even worry about any of the digits down here, we've got to try and think, what is the question asking me? Well, the question is asking us, 368 has been multiplied by something. What do we know about that something? We know it's a 2-digit number. We know it has a 6 in the ones column. At the moment, we don't know what number is in the tens column. And then when we look at this calculation down here, we know that we've got some digits already here. So we've got 2,275. and 8, and that's already been filled in for us. Okay, and then as we go through, we also know that we've got a 4 in this ones column, and we've got a 0 here. So straight away we're asking ourselves, I know that 368 multiplied by 6 gives me that product there. I've multiplied it by the ones column. How do I guess what number is in that tens column? Well, let's think we're multiplying 8 by something that's going to get us a 4 in the tens column. So what I might do down here is try and list my multiples of 8, remembering that I'm multiplying them by a 2-digit number. So 8 times by 10, let's imagine I've got the 1 in the ones column. 8 times by 10 is going to be 80. Is that going to get me a 4 in the tens column? It's not. 8 multiplied by 20 is going to get me 160. Is that going to get me a 4 in the tens column? It's not. 8 multiplied by 30 gets me 240. Now straight away we've spotted that that number does have a 4 in the tens column. So we could put a 3 here and then complete the rest of the calculation, seeing if that 3 works. If it doesn't work, keep going with your multiples of 8. I know that 8 multiplied by 80 would also get me a 4 in the tens column. So if 3 doesn't work, then I wonder if 8 will work in that tens column. So it's about working using a system. Work out what you already know, use your known facts, and then apply that to this question. And if it doesn't work first time, find a second option that might work. Okay, good luck everybody.